All right, we need to talk. Today, my cash secure put is going to be assigned. I'm going to tell you what that means, how it happened, and why it might not be such a bad thing. Stay tuned, you might learn something. Let's recap what's happened to this point and how it all started. We've been rolling cash secured puts now for a few weeks. As you can see, through November and part of December, we've rolled these cash secured puts a total of 5 times. This is our 5th time. You can see we've gradually been moving up in strikes. So we started with $14. That was just below the price where SOFI was, around 15. And as it started to move up into the $15.50, $16 range, we continued to inch that strike price up towards the stock to stay under it, but still collect a good amount of premium. And with this last cash secured put, we were at $15.50. We could have continued to roll that. So we could have rolled this into next week, even though the stock is below $15.50. That does not stop us from rolling. We just chose to, on this channel, to pivot in a different direction and switch that into a covered call. And I'll explain what that looks like in a second. On Monday, when we get assigned these shares now, we're going to have to sell a different type of option known as a covered call. Previously, we had the cash secured put and we sold that, so we gave somebody the right to sell us shares. When we turn around and sell the covered call, because we do have those shares now, we're going to give somebody the right to buy those shares back from us at a price. And that cycle of flipping between these two is what's known as the wheel strategy. One way you can look at this is being one long trade. So this is now going to be our 6th trade of this bucket of trades. This is a perfectly valid way to look at this. And if you do that, this does something special. Over here in the running total column, we can see now that we've made about almost $71 in premium from selling options, and we have yet to be assigned up until this week. That $70 does something called reducing our cost basis. So somebody is going to sell us shares for $15.50, but because we've collected money, we've now reduced our cost basis, or theoretically reduce the amount of money we had to pay to get those shares. So with that $70, if we subtract that from the $15.50 that the other party will sell the shares to us for, our cost basis is now around $14.80 per share. And so that's one of the really cool and interesting things about this strategy is, even though we just had a pretty sharp market correction that was pretty quick, we're still in the positive on this trade because we've collected so much money. SOFI can still go down from here. It's at 15.30 about at the filming of this video, but we can go all the way down to 14.80. And we would still be breaking even on the overall trade. Yes, we would have lost some money from our all-time highs on this trade, but we're still positive. And when we turn around and sell the covered call on Monday, we're going to add even more premium to this bucket of running total premium that we're collecting passively on this trade. Eventually, at some point, we don't know how long. It could be a long time, but at some point we will get assigned on this covered call, and somebody is then going to buy shares back from us at a price. We don't know what that price is, and we don't know how long that's going to take. This could be 1 week, or it could be many, many, many weeks from now. We don't really know that. And the goal is, at the end of this entire trade, we just want to be up when we take into account all of the premium we've collected, plus the stock appreciation from this portion of the wheel, which is the covered call. Let's get into how the trade has unfolded and a little bit more detail about what our options were. Now, the market's already closed, but what were our options before the market closed? Right now, we've sold a cash secured put on SOFI for $15.50. Now, we did that in prior episodes. Throughout the week, SOFI stock was staying nicely above $15.50. We were in no jeopardy. Jerome Powell came out on Wednesday and decided to crash the market, completely pivot on everything he's been saying, turn super hawkish, and send the market into a tailspin. So the entire market and all the stocks have been dealing with that ever since Wednesday. Today, we're experiencing an uptick in volatility, which is a really good thing because we are selling options. We found ourselves hovering under $15 for some of the day, and then we made a rally midday up back towards that $15.50 strike price. So really volatile. We just closed at about $15.30 today. That is under our strike price. So at this point, if you're not familiar with options, you'd probably be very worried and you wouldn't know what's going to go on. We are under our strike price and we've sold a put. Since we sold that put, that means we gave somebody the right to sell us shares at $15.50. You might be panicking, and if you don't know what you're doing, for good reason, and that's why you're watching this video, is to understand what's going to happen. $15.30 is the price that we're at. Now, before close, we had a couple options. We could have continued to roll this trade into next week and collect more premium. So just because the stock price is under our strike, that doesn't mean we're dead in the water. If we wanted to continue selling this put, we could have waited, a half hour before close, and we could have continued to roll that put. So we could have rolled and bought back our option and sold a $15.50 put for the next week and collected even more money and reduced our cost basis further when we actually eventually get assigned. We could have also brought down the strike price. So we could have bought back our $15.50 and then sold the $15, and we still would have collected a little bit of premium. That's a function of how close the stock price was to our strike price. So that option wasn't really worth a lot by the end of the day, so we can buy it back really cheap. And when we go out a week and sell the $15 strike put, we're going to collect more premium. And so we would have ended up making more money, and then we would have sold the $15 put. I am choosing to actually take assignment of this. So I'm making the choice not to roll this option. You might be asking, especially if you're new to this, why in the heck would you do that? Isn't getting assigned bad? What does that mean? In my opinion, for my strategy, getting assigned is not bad. So all that means is because we finished under $15.50 by the close, somebody is going to assign that put option that I sold them, and they're going to exercise their right to sell me 100 shares of SOFI stock at $15.50. So on paper, it looks like I'm going to lose about 20 cents plus or minus there because the stock price is $15.30 right now. So if I turned around and when I get that stock, I'm paying $15.50, but it's worth $15.30. Even though the stock is under $15.50, we're actually not technically in the red right now on the trade. And that's one of the advantages of selling options, is because it already, again, puts you in an advantageous position, and we've collected a little bit of money up front. So, if you're familiar with poker or other games, this is what we can call favorable pot odds. So we're already in a positive position by collecting money up front. I'm going to take assignment of those shares. Somebody's going to put those shares to me. I'm going to collect the 100 shares. And so what I'm going to do on Monday is option number 2. I'm going to take assignment and I'm going to start running the wheel. So you might have heard that strategy the wheel. What does that mean? Because we're not selling a wheel call or anything like that. We're actually selling a covered call. So I'm going to accept the 100 shares, and then I'm going to sell a call against it at either the same strike price that my put was at, 15.50, or a higher strike price. Now, I'm probably, depending on where we open on Monday, if we gap up really high and we open at $16, I'm going to have to reevaluate and sell an even higher call. But I'm very likely going to sell either the $16 or maybe the 1650 call. We'll see the premiums, but I want to collect somewhere between $10 and $25. So wherever that lands, I'm probably going to sell that option. Now again, you're thinking, oh, $10 really isn't that much, but you have to remember, somebody sold these shares to us for $15.50. When we sell the 16 call, that means we're giving somebody the right to buy our shares at $16. So not only are we going to collect the money that they're going to pay us for the contract, but if the stock goes above $16, we're also going to collect the difference between the $15.50 where we bought them at and the $16 or $16.50 where we have to sell them at. That's either 50 cents or $1 extra per share, or another $50 or $100. This trade can potentially turn into a lot more money, and when we're experiencing a volatile market like this where it's chopping up and down and going sideways, this is where this strategy really can make some extra returns, is because we've been collecting money all along as we've sold these puts and rolled them, as you saw. But now we have the shares, and we're going to continue to collect money, but we're also now going to get stock appreciation potentially. Now, obviously, there's always the downside risk. If we wake up on Monday morning and SOFI stock opens up at $10, we're in some deep trouble, and we need to have a talk about what we're going to do then, because now our strategy is going to change a little bit and we have to do some different things. I'm continuing to hope for a nice sideways moving volatile market with a lot of chop. That's going to give us a lot of money for this strategy, and we'll reconvene on Monday morning, see what happens, and I'll show that trade in a later video.